Hello, George and Kitster and anyone else who decides to watch this. This is kind of awkward. I'm trying to save this video. Originally, it was muted. We can just let this play. So I'm going to do a voiceover for you. Hopefully it doesn't go too quickly. If it does, simply just slow it down. So we are at Calgary International Airport. Now, we're at gate 17, which is a size Class C. This is the kind of gate that you should be at in a Boeing 737. We just ignore this. It's because I have my Xbox One controller plugged in for when I do truck sim and stuff like that. I don't use it when flying. So, I'm going to walk you through how I do this. I'm going to show you different ways to do it. Both involve SimBrief and Navigraph, but I'm going to show you a way to do it without Navigraph. So, this is an old flight plan I was flying earlier. Atlanta up to your capital in Washington, D.C. So, make sure your air rack is up to date. You can only get that with a paid Navigraph subscription. To me, it's a no-brainer, but so, WJA, that is the ICAO code for WestJet. 553 is the flight number. We're departing Calgary. We're going to fly to Vancouver, obviously. Now, this is the important part. Choosing your aircraft type. So, we're flying a Boeing 737-800. So, we scroll down. Now, you can do this for the 747. I use this for every aircraft I own in any sim. And now, you don't want to use default. There are Microsoft Flight Simulator presets for the PMDG. ProSim, that is a payware or freeware mod. I'm on X-Plane, so I'm using the Zibo mod. I'm in Canada, and I fly mostly over in Asia and stuff like that. So I use kilograms. You can click here and change it to pounds if you prefer. So everything else is done there. Now, this. Typically, it will automatically set the amount of passengers, feet, based on which configuration of the aircraft you chose up above. I typically leave it on auto, but I could change this to 171 if I wanted. Payload I leave on auto. Freight, let's add 1,000 kilos of freight, which is around 2,500 pounds, 2,800, something like that. So there's our flight. This is our flight plan. Botog Q894 Booth Canuck 5. I am going to pause this at one point because I didn't actually show you how to enter in Q894. Because if you put it on the right side in the FMC, it won't accept it. Booth is the exit point. So we're processing the file. I have an issue where SimBrief downloader for a minute, like for a few minutes, I cut multiple tries, didn't want to load. That is the best way to do it because then you have the information that you need. In this section here, I actually show you how to do all this manually. So, import flight from SimBrief, and that will pull it into Navigraph charts. If you don't have Navigraph, I don't know what you're doing flying airliners personally, but you can do it if you wish. But there's another way to view some of the information that's on there, including the entire flight plan, the weights, the balances, everything like that. If you click View Official Flight Plan, you will see everything is in here. It's got my fuel, the reserve, which is 2188. The final reserve would be 1.1. So, we're taking off runway 11 via Botog, the airway Q894. We exit that at Booth, and then we go on to the arrival. here are my weights. Passenger, cargo, we selected 1,000 kilograms, so it's 1.0. And there's our fuel. Takeoff weight, that is the expected weight. Not so sure how accurate that one is on this flight. But regardless, if you don't have the the Navigraph charts, you can view this exact same information from the SimBrief webpage. Just open the PDF. And as you see, all the information is identical. (1116). That would be my final reserve after if I had to divert to Campbell River, I think is the alternate that it has. So, there you go, everything matches. Now, let's get into the sim. Everything is there. Everything you need, including everything else, there we go. Now, this aircraft, obviously, the Zevo mod is different from the PMDG, but all the, especially payware aircraft in Microsoft Flight Simulator have an EFB or electronic flight bag. I already know for a fact from memory when I flew the PMDG 737-600, you can import your SimBrief flight plan into your aircraft. It's no different than importing it into the 787, George. Except you don't have the pretty PMDG interface. I can't help you with the PMDG part of it, but I can help you with starting up a 737 Cold and Dark. So this is a thing in the Zevo mod. It is going to try and download the official flight plan, which is not going to work because SimBrief Downloader wouldn't load up for some reason. It does later on, and I overwrite the FMC, but I show you how to enter it in manually in case you know, your aircraft, your 7.3 that you choose to fly, doesn't have the ability to import. You can see the bar at the bottom. I keep trying to bring it up. So, we are completely cold and dark. You see, it just doesn't want to load. I got a lot of tabs open. For a flight. So we are completely cold and dark. There's not a screen on. There's not a sound on. I'm just getting rid of the bar down at the bottom because it's annoying. I do that with every flight. I don't need it. I know what the number keys do. And again, I got obsessed with the Sim Downloader not working because that was one of the whole points. SimBrief Downloader is completely free to use. SimBrief is completely free to use. Either way, it's around here I decide to actually, you know what, I'm just going to do it the old-fashioned way. So, we go back, we go home. So, here is where I load my fuel payload, and this is telling me my CG right here. Once I input these numbers. So, fuel is 6.1, so 6,100. Oh, I entered 17,500. That is my payload, which you saw on there. This I shouldn't have done. I called for the fuel truck, but I hadn't actually told it how much fuel to load me up with. And then again, I refer back to the official flight plan. Real pilots do this exact same thing. They have it printed out inside their flight, inside the cockpit, and they enter these numbers in. Although on a lot of airlines, They simply pull all that information into the FMC. So with the Zevo, it's got a lot of stuff that happens kind of automatically. So first things first, battery on. As you see, cold and dark. Emergency lights, the nav lights, so they know we are under power. Ground power on. I'm not going to spend a lot of time with this, but get your lights up, obviously.
Ground flight deck hose disconnected and starting refueling.
Now, line your ADIRs. These can take up to 15 minutes. But there's usually an option in the EFB that you can have it go instantly. The yaw damper will not turn on until you hit the ADIRs and turn them to nav. Window heats, very important. You don't want to get up into icing conditions and your windows freeze up. Electric pumps. Packs and fans to auto. Trim air is on, which helps power the trim. And now we got the FMCs, we've got the displays, and here we go. So, position in it is your first page. Now remember, I haven't downloaded the thing, so I can't call my flight plan in. Normally I would just call it
Ground
in.
flight deck fuel is all loaded up and you are good to go.
So, set the IRS, very important. Normally I would just push this button, flight plan request, and get it via CPDLC. And we're going to YVR. And we should enter in the runway we are going to use, which in this case is runway 11. And then we are going to enter in what our flight number is, which is WestJet Whiskey Juliet Alpha 553. Not mandatory. Do put the runway though. So, next page, we've executed. Now, this is where you would enter in the waypoints manually. And manually. Now, I am going to pause this here, because if you noticed on the flight plan, there was a Q894. Now, you will see upcoming that I am going to enter an intersection, Botog, and I'm going to put it over here. If you do that, and it automatically moves to the next line, and I went Q894 and went to put it here, it's not going to work, because that is an airway. It contains a bunch of intersections. So that being an airway, and you can always tell because it's a letter and 3 numbers. You hit the left key and that would go in, and then you need to enter an exit point. In our case, that will be Booth, which is the beginning of the Canuck 5 arrival into Vancouver International, regardless of what runway you are landing on when flying from the east. At least the northeast, you're going to be on the Canuck. Otherwise, you'll be on the Payne arrival. So just keep that in mind, okay? We'll continue on. I believe at this point I do show you the place. It's like I'm still trying to get this thing to download and it won't. It's really getting on my nerves. But like I said, the FMC in these 737s, they typically, you can send the information from, see, there's Botog and there's Q894. So we enter in Botog, we put it on the right hand side. See, even I messed it up because I normally don't enter this stuff. I just have it transferred in. Now this is where Q894, and as you can see, it's got another dotted line. It's expecting a exit point, which in this case is boost. And now the thing loads up. So George, this is specific to you. So for me, the Zevo, I have this and this. On PMDG, you also have the flight plan and the wind uplink. You want to download both of those. Do not ask me what directory they go in. I'm pretty sure it'd be the exact same as the 787, if I'm being honest. So there we go. You notice I downloaded the XML. That has my perf in it, which is like my weights, my balances, my cruise altitude, all that kind of stuff. All this normally I would have filled in. Right now you see I'm using the flight plan request. On the tablet, on the PMDG, you probably can load it into here and then send it down to the FMS. The Zevo does all this for me, calls over the gate, calls the fuel truck, yada yada yada. I did mess this up because it's been like years since I did this manually. But it kind of works out. So now that I have all this done and everything's going, I want the APU on. The reason why, it's like, well, why don't you just stay on the ground power? Well, then the cabin has no air conditioning or heating or anything. And people don't spend, $600 to sit in a cold aircraft or a sweltering hot one. So as you see, with the Zevo, it's doing the refueling and cargo loading. Cruise wind uplink. You do that on RTE tab when you're getting ready for takeoff.
Ground flight deck hose is connected.
So we've got it. Now we're going to do the perf init
Ground
request.
flight deck fuel is all loaded up and
If
you
it
are good to
doesn't,
go.
here I show you as if I didn't have this. So now I refer back to the official flight plan. Don't forget, you can also do it in the web browser and look at all this information as well in that PDF. That is the zero fuel weight. We already know the altitude is going to be flight level 360 because we are flying westbound. (180) to 359 heading. You fly even numbers like 360, 380, 320, 12,000. And heading eastbound, which is 000 to 179. The 180 and 000 are kind of a no man's land. Typically, a flight plan won't give you a heading like that. You use odd numbers, so 350. If I was flying from here to Toronto, it'd be 350, not 360. So I put in my reserves. The cost index and everything else was already done. I'm going to manually enter in winds aloft and stuff like that. Make sure the cost index. Cruise winds. Technically, I could have these imported, but I'm doing it myself in this case. Average wind 283 at 3.5. I'm curious in this one if it was using minus 31 Fahrenheit. I put Celsius. I'm thinking it should have been Fahrenheit because in reality it was minus 52. This is for D-rated. I'll stop it here. This is if you are doing a D-rated takeoff. Like you're taking off and it's like, I have a 12,000 foot runway. I do not need to be using toga. So I can derate it so it would use like literally 90% of full power or 89%, which saves fuel, wear and tear on the engines, and this is how you would do it. This is telling me right now what my performance limits are going to be. My climb will be at a max of 340 knots. And it's looking good. If I clicked RTA, that's where I'd get my winds aloft data. So that all looks good. Transition altitude 18,000 feet. Check your charts as to what the transition level is where you are flying. There's places like in London, it's 3,000 feet and you're at flight level 30. So, we turned those on simply because we'll go back up the whole thing. So the APU has started. We're going to get the APU on the bus. Ground power is no longer needed technically. So everything here to neutral. APU bleed on, which is the middle switch. I'm just getting the fuel pumps on early. I don't need them technically at this very minute. Make sure you check your cruise altitude. I alter that later on. And this is now cooling down the aircraft and everything else. I can get rid of the GPU. I don't need it. And in this aircraft I can monitor, you know, that things are loading as proper. As you see, George, the master caution, electric. I don't have the generators on yet because the engines are on. So that's kind of normal. So this tells me, I just use this, it's way easier. 29990 is my altimeter. So I'm switching it to inches. I usually use hectopascals, but I'm doing it for those that live in the US. Canada, we don't use inches. So the legs, we need to make sure there are no discontinuities. But first we got to put in the arrival. We're doing the Canuck 5, that's already selected. But we've got to choose the runway. We're doing the ILS 26 left. There is no transition for it because the star ends at 26 intersections, and I simply go over it. For takeoff, 737 typically is flaps 5, so is the 777 and 787. 74, it's flaps 20. This aircraft calculates your CG automatically, but if you go back, you will remember that the EFP also would show me what my CG would be. So I could punch that in to the FMC manually. Setting the pitch trim, which is 5.25. Clearing the ECAM, and the way we are set up right now, it is perfectly happy with it. It's still going to come back on most likely because we don't have the generators on the engines running. Because the engines aren't started yet. That light should not be on if both engines are running. I see what it did. It forgot to load all my fuel. That's fine. Here, because I did download the information, it's going to redo it. But you'll notice nothing changes. It's identical to what I entered in manually because it is loading the exact same information that was on that Navigraph official SimBrief official flight plan or the tab that I had of the PDF on the website. The right-hand FMC I put on progress. It allows me to look at what my rates are going to be. Here we have a disco. These are very important to clear, because otherwise the aircraft at some point is not going to know where the heck it's going to go, and it's just going to keep flying straight. So on an Airbus, it'd be different. You would actually let it come down and then go direct, select the waypoint, and then hit it and execute it. On a Boeing, you simply just click the waypoint you want to go to, which in this case I only have one discontinuity, and then I move it up to the top, execute. Make sure you go through the entire flight plan. You can have multiple discontinuities in a flight if the aircraft is unsure, and you need to clear those individually. I don't show you going through the flight plan on the ND, but you should go through and make sure it looks correct. I can do a video on that if you want. It'll be a short one. So just click it, move it up, and that is now your active waypoint. All discontinuities are cleared. And this is simply the missed approach and go around and where we're going to go for a hold. And I know this flight plan off by heart. There's nothing wrong with that. Now this thing is not really going to matter to you, simply because I'm going to be doing the push. I just wanted to refresh my memory on the runway. There's runway 11, so I'm going to be going here. There's my position. I want to have the pushback tail left. We'll come down Charlie to Juliet and all the way to the end of Juliet to 11. I do extend the video, let you see the takeoff and all that kind of stuff. But for now, I'm just going to show you the startup procedure. Your aircraft may vary. I know the PMDG has its own pushback app, as does Microsoft Flight Simulator, so you can use yours. Obviously, an X-plane.
All right, Captain, got the directions. Let me know through the menu when you're ready.
The gate with the Zevo will automatically move away. Now I'm cleared to start engines. Seatbelts on, so they know that we're getting ready to start.
Verify arm door, standby for all call.
Zevo does the announcements automatically, which is really cool.
We've got everyone strapped in. Give us a ring if you need anything.
Set our cruise altitude, 36,000. Look up what the runway heading is. Don't ever close my door, woman.
That you please take your seats at this
Or
time.
you're
Be
going
sure
to
that
be
your seatbelts are
freaking on
securely
toilet
fastened.
cleaning.
Thank you.
Takeoff 147, so we set the speed the FMC has determined based on our weight and the winds. +5 I like to do. And we need to look up the runway heading, which we had, which is 105, set the course to 105 as well, which is the runway heading.
For those customers seated in a row, seats
Do it on all sides.
row. We just please take out the safety information card found in the seat pocket in front of you. Read the front of the card. If you're unwilling or unable to perform the actions that may be required of you at any time during
PMDG may
the flight
have the
without entering
announcements,
these
I'm not
yourself,
really sure.
please notify
I like to have
flight
like
members
20
received at
nautical
this time.
miles as the
Use
rim out.
of personal electronic devices is permitted while the boarding door is
Everything
open.
is
Just prior to
done.
closing the door, we'll advise you when to turn off and stow all large portable electronic devices. You may continue using
And as they continue that, I'm going to call for
Great
pushback.
news, Captain. Your tow's coming.
Prepare your doors for departure. Cross-check standby for all call.
We will get the beacon light on, which is the third switch. That is where I'll know that the cabin crew has done the briefing and are strapped in their jump seats. It actually works on here. We will get the lights down because we are doing a takeoff. I wish that was automatic. Beacon on, this alerts ground crew that we're about to start engines and pressurize the
Morning, folks,
hydraulics.
from the flight deck, get your captain
And you
for
can
the
see
ride.
that
Looks like it
the
should be
PA
pretty good.
is in use,
So,
be it
we're planning
me
on a smooth ride.
or the
Get
purser
there as soon as we can, and as safe as
or
we can.
any of
We'll
the cabin
contact you
crew.
once we get airborne. Welcome aboard.
And that was, well, my electronic
Alright,
version
looks
of
like the
myself.
doors and hatches are closed and we're ready to connect.
The flaps, do not extend the flaps to you know, here we can extend them, while, you know, once we're pushed back to ensure hydraulics and everything are all working properly. But in a cold environment, you're probably going to get de-iced. This aircraft does have an ability to call over 2 de-icing trucks, and you actually watch them spray the aircraft. In a situation like that, you do not want your flaps down before you're basically at the runway. Otherwise, the anti-ice fluid is just going to be pouring off your
Welcome
wings.
aboard, Captain. Toes connected, bypass pins inserted. Go ahead and kill the parking brake when you're ready to go.
Which is not what you want.
Here comes the pushback. Light them up.
Clear left. Clear right. Just a default airport. So here we go.
Suggestion, please direct your attention to the following safety presentation.
Start the right engine first on a Boeing. Packs off. There's more than enough oxygen and heat or air conditioning in the cabin. And watch for the old fan speeds in that rising. N2 is rising. On a Boeing, typically, you do not add fuel until it gets to 25. The 787 and 777 are different. Technically on those, you can start both engines at the exact same time if you really wanted to. But I don't, because I like listening to the sounds.
First, please fasten your seatbelt. To fasten your seatbelt, insert the metal fitting into the buckle and pull on the loose end of the strap to tighten. To open, lift up on the buckle.
We recommend you keep your seatbelt fastened at all times, as turbulence can occur unexpectedly.
As we prepare for takeoff,
Just enjoy the
make
sights
sure
and
your
sounds.
seat back and tray table are up and carry-on baggage is under a seat.
Smoking is not allowed at any time. Tampering with, disabling, or destroying smoke detectors in the lavatories may result in a fine.
Once this switch goes to off, you can start the second engine.
Remember instructions about seatbelts and smoking.
Do not have your taxi lights or any runway turn-off lights, anything like that on, even if it's nighttime. You will blind the pushback truck driver. And the ground crew that are walking beside, there's actually an individual walking beside the aircraft, and they have their headset plugged into the side of the aircraft, so they can communicate.
Red light or an exit sign will indicate you have reached an exit. In an emergency evacuation,
It's not actually the pushback driver that's talking to you. It's actually the person walking beside the pushback, the person that's plugged with the mic. They hand the pushback instructions. And they want to go nose facing east,
And tighten by pulling the straps on either side.
you know, or in this case, south.
Even though oxygen is flowing, the plastic bag.
Just about done here. Go ahead and set your parking brake.
Always put your own mask on first, and then.
And we're disconnecting the tow. Give
And
me
we
just a
got two
moment.
good engine starts.
Or between seats.
Now we get the generators on the line. Put the packs back on. We can get the APU bleed off, and then we'll shut the APU off.
From a package like this. Put the vest on over your head, wrap the strap around your waist, and attach the buckle. Pull the loose end of the
Now
strap
3.5, I've got that set from the last time. Do not hit the strobes or anything yet.
On the side of the vest, there is also a light.
Two good engine starts. You're cleared to disconnect. We'll look for the handoff on the left side. We'll see you next time.
If necessary, an infant life vest will be distributed by a flight attendant. The safety card shows how to use the vest.
The crew will now be coming through to do a final cabin check. We'll be
Little
back after
commentary.
pickup with more information about your flight.
Now put your probe heats on.
And we're disconnected. Signal and pin on the left. Take it easy and have a safe flight.
If you turn them on and the engines and that aren't started, Don't be surprised if the temperature at tip in the ECAM page reads like 100 Celsius. Don't do it. Now you can set your flaps. If this was snowy and we just got the ice, I would still have them up until we were basically at the runway threshold kind of thing. And then I would put them down. When I'm holding short of the runway, getting my landing lights and all that on. We got the pin, we see it, we thank you for your service, we'll catch you next time. And here we go, starters to both, engines to continuous, because we are taking off. As you saw, the blue light, that is telling me the cabin crew are all seated in their jump seats. Everything in the back is all completely secure. And they are secure in their seats. And now we taxi to the runway. Default airport, it's not bad. In Canada, Calgary International is pretty dang important and busy in that. But on a global scale, I can understand why they haven't gone all out. The night lighting at it, though, is good. So this is live weather, live time. Google Map enhancement is in use. If I recall, SimHeaven, Global Forest. Better Pushback is obviously a mod, it's freeware. However, like I said, the PMDG has its own pushback utility built in. And that was, we're going on to Charlie. We'll taxi down Charlie to Juliet. We do have one runway to cross, which XRAS will alert us to. And that's the runway advisory service telling us that we're crossing a runway that could be active. Technically, if I was on that sim, I would have turned my strobe lights on and my landings lights as I cross the runway, so that any aircraft on approach would know there is somebody contaminating the runway. And by that, it's not like I'm dropping fuel or anything, it's just I'm on the runway. I should have set the TCAS ahead of time. You set it to TA only. And you set it to TARA once you're at the runway threshold line, if you will. But we got to go down to Juliet. From here on out, it's just a matter of doing the lights like you normally would, landing lights off at 10,000, etc. Sit back, enjoy the sights and sounds. If you have any questions, feel free to just ask them. I'll do my best to answer them for you. Like I said, LNAV here wouldn't arm, of course, because there's not really a departure. So I am going to set a course here so I know what I need to fly once I get up over about 3,000 feet, 2,000
approaching
feet.
17 right.
And auto throttle kicks in and I'll do the turn. If I had a full SID in there, so we'll clear that. The pilot monitoring would have said, cabin crew's ready, which is kosher. And make sure you got 36,000 set. Not that a difference of 1,000 feet is going to make a massive difference, but it's a safety thing. And then we just continue down and I do the takeoff. I go through the sequence, sit back, relax, enjoy the sights and sounds. And I'll talk to you again real soon. About another, excuse me, 10 minutes of the video. And I do crank the engines up, so just be advised. Hope you enjoy and it helps you both. Like I said, by all means, just ask me and I'll do my best to answer the questions for you. Thanks for watching. Both of you enjoy the blue skies. Be safe, be kind to one another, keep blue side up, and we'll see you up there. Take care. Thanks for watching. God bless both of you.
Flight attendants, please be seated for departure.
You notice there, George, I clicked here. That's what's called a recall check. No light
Approaching
should be anywhere,
1-1.
and I should have no error messages here. And then I do what's called a gum check. Gears down, RTO is set for rejected takeoff, flaps 5 are set, runway heading is in, altitude is set, and takeoff climb out speed is set for the start of the climb.
On runway 11.
Engines now to around 40%. N1. Make sure engines are stabilized. They both are putting out equal pressure and power. And then Toga, which you can just do here. At least on the Zeebo. I don't remember in the PMDG. That's Toga. Enjoy the sounds. I love them engines. And there you go. I hope you enjoyed it.
1,000.
And now it's just a matter of flying the flight plan. Take care. We'll talk to you again real soon.